What's up, everybody? Dog 1985. There's levels to this. Starfield. No matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter as much as you may try to avoid it, the truth is Starfield is still everywhere. Starfield is the game that gets compared to everything. Starfield is the game that gets destroyed, and Starfield is the game that gets put on a pedestal. Starfield is literally everything right with gaming and everything wrong with gaming at the exact same time. But when it comes to Starfield, the main thing that we want to know is simple. Is Starfield a great game? Now, if you're watching this and you yourself have played Starfield, then my opinion doesn't matter. You should have already formed your own opinion as to what you think about Starfield. But what I want to do is, I want to present to you what happened to Starfield before it launched, while it launched, and now post launch, so we can have a clear picture as to why this game, even though it's great, even though it's horrible, is still one of the most talked about games this generation. Let's do that. Pre Starfield, pre the deployment of Starfield. Let me set the stage. Starfield was supposed to be the game of the generation. The game that was going to grab Xbox, Microsoft, and set them apart from everybody else. Okay? It was supposed to be a game that was supposed to change gaming as we knew it. Other games were going to try to emulate Starfield. Other games had never seen what Starfield was going to do. It was going to be a masterpiece that wasn't going to be able to be denied by anybody. A game that was years in the making, a game with high hopes. Now, all these hopes and everything didn't come without it being warranted. It was warranted because it was coming from a studio that had done something similar to this grandiose expectation that we had, right? Bethesda, known for making games like Skyrim, known for making games like Fallout, even though they had a little hiccup with Fallout 76, and I think there was another Fallout out there that a lot of people didn't like, but Fallout 76 is the one that stands out. Regardless, though, Fallout 76 is a lot better now. People love Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim is a masterpiece, and Starfield was supposed to be Skyrim in space. That's the best way it was explained to me. Now, when I say it was explained to me, I want you to understand that this placing on a pedestal for this game wasn't done by just the developers or the publishers or the people that were actually working on Starfield. No, there were plenty of Bethesda fans that decided to elevate Starfield before they even fully knew exactly what Starfield was, just on the simple fact that it was made by a man called Todd Howard. Now, again, Todd Howard, the maker of Skyrim, and worked with Fallout 4 and Fallout 3 and Bethesda, and the accolade that the studio had, when they thought about what Starfield was going to be, it excited a lot of the fans. So this game, before it even came out, was already quote unquote a masterpiece. The first chink in the armor that Starfield got was when it was known that Microsoft had purchased Bethesda, and then that Skyrim, and then that Starfield was going to be exclusive. You see, those same people that liked Skyrim, those same people that liked Fallout, a lot of them did not like the fact that Starfield was going to be exclusive. It got so weird that Xbox, Microsoft, people that worked for the game, Xbox Twitter handles, Phil Spencer, people had to come out and literally say over and over again that Starfield was going to be exclusive. And as soon as that happened, that was the first boom, chink in the armor for Starfield. That was the first time people started looking at Starfield in a negative manner, because it was going to be exclusive to a platform that's not very popular amongst gamers. Okay, now that was strike number one. Strike number two was when Starfield went ahead and got delayed. This was a big deal because Starfield got delayed during the time when other games got delayed and stuff like that. But this game, again, was supposed to be Xbox's savior. So why would you postpone Xbox's savior? Horrible. It just the optics of it did not look good. So now, again, we're still just in the pre-stages of Starfield. We're gone from a place where Starfield's high on a pedestal, and now a few things are starting to drop Starfield. Then it was revealed that Starfield was going to be 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X, which is the most powerful console, right? Another chink in the armor, does not look good. The fans behind Starfield, though, were explaining how they understood why this game was going to be 30 frames per second because of everything else that you could do with the mechanics, and because the game was going to look beautiful. They didn't want to what did they say? They didn't want to sacrifice fidelity. That's what they told us, that they didn't want to sacrifice fidelity. Okay, perfectly fine. Okay, this is all pre the game being released. And then last but not least, for some of us, not for everyone, the problem with Starfield before release is that there was big hype, but no one really knew exactly what Starfield was except for Skyrim in space. Skyrim in space. And that description of this game right there is probably what hurt the game the most when it actually came to launch. So I already told you what it looked like pre-launch, okay? Put on a pedestal, supposed to be able to save Xbox, the greatest game ever. But Bethesda's behind it, Todd Howard's behind it. It's gonna be a masterpiece, all this other stuff, hyped up, doesn't matter. People were using it for their little console wars before the game was even out, okay? Then the game gets delayed, not good. The game gets it gets told that it was gonna be at 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X. Definitely not good. What else did they do? Exclusive, not good as well, right? Then the game finally drops. This is where things got really, really interesting. For everyone that believed that this game was going to be Skyrim in space, one of the biggest things that they loved about Skyrim, and I'm saying they because I haven't played Skyrim myself, but I did play Fallout, is the fact that you can explore, and apparently you can do whatever you want in Skyrim. You don't even have to do the story. You can just, as soon as you start playing the game, go do whatever you want, and you run into different side quests, different things in the world, and it's just amazing. Starfield, to those people that have played Skyrim, did not give you that feeling. So right off the bat, it did not meet that initial expectation of what made Skyrim great. Now there's another game that Starfield gets compared to, and that's Fallout, right? Because again, made by the same people. I played Fallout 3 because my subscribers told me, Doc, play Fallout 3 so you can understand what Starfield is going to be about. It was either Fallout 3, Fallout 4, or Skyrim. I decided to play Fallout 3. One of the things that I got to experience with Fallout 3 is the fact that I know that you and I both playing Fallout 3, we didn't experience the same game. And I thought that's amazing. I actually like the fact that I know that my experience with Fallout 3 could be drastically different than yours. Not just a little bit, drastically different than yours, depending on what we chose in the game and what we decided to do. The best example I could say is for all those people out there that decided to blow up Nuketown, your experience was way different than mine. I kept Nuketown, right? There's another part there where you could decide to kill the mayor of Nuketown, or you could decide to save the mayor of Nuketown, whatever you decide to do, right? These little choices that seem small but can affect the game in a major way in your experience and the way that you experience for yourself. One of my favorite stories of Fallout 3 is when there was this guy on this bridge that was protecting this small little town, and he had a weapon that I liked. And I'm like, man, how do I get that weapon? And I just so happened to shoot him. And I took the weapon and it worked. And then everyone in the town got mad at me and I had to kill everybody in that town. I had never played a game like that. I have never experienced something like that where my actions actually had consequences and it was programmed into the game. So I was excited to try to play Starfield and see how it would compare to something like that. Now, for me, Starfield was that. I got to enjoy Starfield. because it was something where I felt like I know you and I probably didn't have the same experience, depending on how many side missions you did or whatever the case may be. But to those people that played Starfield and wanted the exploration part of Starfield, that was a chink in the armor. They didn't like that. They felt like they were lied to. Okay, they felt like they were lied to. It's all based on expectations. Okay, then you have, what does this game look like when it's supposed to be a next gen game on a next gen console like the Xbox Series X? Most people looked at this game and could see that visually it didn't look like anything that was drastically better than what we had seen before. So a lot of us didn't fully understand the 60 the lack of 60 frames per second. To this day, a lot of us still don't fully understand why this game can't run at 60 frames. However, I gotta admit, this is probably the best 30 frames per second game that I have ever played. And it's also a first person shooter, or it has a first person shooter mode. So the game Starfield, as it launched, okay, as people are actually playing it, high player counts because it's a very anticipated game. Lots of people are playing it. And then you got to see the mixed reception. Overall, it's got good scores. People are saying it's a good game, but people are saying it's a good game because what they expected was a perfect game, and there's no such thing as a perfect game. They expected a perfect game, not only a perfect game, but a perfect game to what they thought this was going to be, and it wasn't that. Hence, disappointment. Hence, now they have to drop the scores. I need you to pay attention to all these review scores and everyone that's reviewed Starfield, and pay attention to the titles of these videos. You'll see a lot of them say, I put 100 hours into Starfield, it sucks. 30 plus hours into Starfield, not good. A ridiculous amount of hours into Starfield, yet they didn't like the game. Now, I don't know what you have done in your life that you did not enjoy that long. For more than, for I can't think of one thing that I've done in my life for 15 hours straight that I didn't enjoy, unless it had some type of financial benefit to it, okay? Or there was another motive for it. But a purely recreational hobby thing that I'm going to do for 15 hours plus, even though I don't enjoy it, no, unless I'm doing it with somebody else or I'm doing it for somebody else, there's no way. Yet a lot of these reviews didn't like Starfield, yet they played it for a very long time. Like I said in the beginning of the video though, if you have played Starfield, that's what matters the most, because your experience is your reality. So I highly suggest that you go ahead and play Starfield and you don't listen to the reviews per se. Okay, now I know some people say, nah, I don't want to listen to the reviews, I gotta pay attention, and that's perfectly fine. So Starfield launches. These are facts now. Incredible player base. They knocked that out of the park, okay? It launches, it's being talked by everybody. You can't escape the talk of Starfield when Starfield launched. People are playing it on PC, people are playing it on Xbox, people are playing it on xCloud. It is ridiculous. Simultaneously, during that same time, xCloud starts having a lot of load times in between, and I don't know if it's due to Starfield or not, but if I was a guessing man, I would guess that it would, because that's when I started noticing it. Now let's fast forward to post Starfield. Post Starfield comes, and people are claiming that that no one is talking about Starfield and that Starfield is dead. Yet to this day, people still compare games to Starfield, whether it is to boost their narrative or whether it is to show that Starfield didn't sell well, whether it's to show that Starfield is not good, whether it's to make fun of Starfield, whatever the case may be, people can't stop talking about this game. Now, a few little small information came out in December about the sales number of Starfield, and apparently, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, Starfield has done well financially as well, okay? How many subscribers has it brought to Game Pass? Who knows? But all I know is this. No one can deny the power of Starfield right now. And how many people have played Starfield and how many people have yet to play Starfield that I promise you will play Starfield. I believe that Starfield is only going to get better with time. because the expectation of what it was supposed to be was so high that now, as that diminishes and it goes down, people that are going to be jumping into Starfield late are going to jump into it with an open mind. The same way that people jumped into Cyberpunk before the disaster happened to it. The reviews started jumping up. The reviews started getting great. Okay? Here's the deal. The moral of this story, and the most important thing that I want you to get from this, is this here. You can try Starfield out right now for a minimum price of $10. And this is not a commercial. This is not an endorsement. I'm not getting paid to say this. I'm only speaking facts because I want you to understand what that means. You can try this out for yourself and see how you like it if you haven't already. If you've already played Starfield, you already have your mind made up. All you're doing is listening to me for entertainment or for whatever reason. It doesn't matter, okay? I am here to tell you that Starfield for me is one of the best games that I have ever played. And I'm not saying that lightly. It is hands down one of the best games that I have ever played. I am in awe with Starfield. I'm playing New Game Plus and everything. The criticism that I hear about people that played Starfield, they're critiquing things that don't interest me. And I find that interesting. So I don't invalidate their opinions. So when people say you can't fly seamlessly in and out of planets, that's something that doesn't bother me, but it bothers them. Okay, that's something that they expected. That's perfectly fine. Somebody was complaining in one of the reviews about the loot system. The loot system didn't bother me at all. Okay, that's fine. Somebody complained about the shooting in the game. The shooting in the game for me was perfect. That's fine. Somebody complained about powers in the game. Powers in the game was perfect. Was fine. Somebody complained about the story of Starfield, which to me I thought was one of its strongest points. I don't understand. I don't understand. But again, that's perfectly fine. I haven't even touched the spaceship customization in Starfield. I haven't even touched the outpost making in Starfield. I haven't even touched none of that stuff yet. So I know there's so much more to discover. And when I think about that, I think about the potential of me liking Starfield even more. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right? There's plenty of games to play out there. Yet for whatever reason, I have a hard time getting away from Starfield. I want you to try it out yourself. And the reason you know you should try it out yourself is pay attention to how much this game is talked about. Even though some of the biggest games of this generation have just dropped today, I guarantee you will continue hearing Starfield till the end of this year. If Starfield didn't matter, if Starfield didn't move the needle at all, no one would be talking about it. There's other games that were big games that no longer are being mentioned. And I don't even have to mention them to you because you could probably think about them off the top of your head. Like, yeah, nobody's talking about this anymore. When that came out, that was big. Nobody's talking about this anymore. When that came out, it was big. However, there's a narrative out there that wants to try to tell you that no one's talking about Starfield. Yet you see Starfield everywhere still. Very interesting. Maybe Starfield won't be the game of the generation because of the expectations that were placed on it. Maybe Starfield is not a great game overall because the general consensus don't think it's a great game. All I want you to do is think about things that I outlined so far. And you could go even deeper, but you know I don't make long videos. But understand this. Play it for yourself without any biases. Play it for yourself with an open mind and see if you like it for yourself. And if you don't, it is what it is. No harm, no foul. But Xbox is giving you a chance to try this game for $10 a month. The game of the generation. You have a chance to see if it's your game of the generation for $10 a month. $10 to try it out. I wish I could do the same thing with other games that are supposed to be bangers. But I can't. I got to pay full price for those games, and if I don't like them, then I get to return them. It's not as convenient. Dog 1985, there's levels to this. We out. Peace.